All right, guys. So we're gonna hop into chapter 19 here. We're looking at our civil liberties. Civil liberties, civil rights. Oftentimes, the terms are used interchangeably, but we're going to see there's a little bit of a difference. First, most of our civil liberties are contained within the Bill of Rights, which are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. If you remember, that was one of the big hesitations that people had with the Constitution is that there was no guarantee of individual rights. So the first 10 amendments were made, and that was construed as what we now refer to as the Bill of Rights. James Madison, in the House of Representatives and working through Congress, was able to get these pushed through with the first Congress that was assembled under the Constitution. The Ninth Amendment is pretty important because it says basically it says the enumeration in the Constitution of certain powers shall not be construed to deny or disparage other rights others retained by the people. Basically, just because it's not listed in the Constitution does not mean it is not your right. Because we have the right to bear arms or the freedom of speech in the Constitution, it doesn't mean that other rights that are not listed in the Constitution are not your actual rights. An example of this is you're protected from unlawful gaining of evidence. The 14th Amendment, as we know through American history, not everyone was guaranteed rights, specifically African Americans and others that were at times considered second class citizens. So, to help guarantee rights for everyone, we see the 14th Amendment, which was passed after the Civil War, is designed to give everyone protection of due process. So, no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. So, in essence, it is extending the Bill of Rights to the federal Bill of Rights to the states, making sure that everyone has their protections. Today, this is used to make sure people with disabilities have lawful access to public places and so forth. Gay marriage is also an extension of this. So this is becoming more evolved and more inclusive as we go here. Okay, just remember that civil liberties are protections against the government. Civil rights are often referred to as positive acts of the government to guarantee those rights, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964, so forth. Like I said earlier, one of the big drawbacks of the original Constitution is there's no mention of civil rights or liberties. As we discussed several times, we have a limited government in America. The government's power is limited to the power given to it by the Constitution. Now, here's a big concept, very important. All of your rights are relative. Okay, they're not absolute. You're basically free to do what you want as long as it does not infringe upon someone else's health, safety, or welfare. We look at noise ordinances. Who's going to tell me I can't play my music as loud as I want whenever I want? Well, we live in a civil society that we acknowledge the health, safety, and welfare of our neighbors and so forth. Freedom of speech. Sure, you can say what you want, but that doesn't mean you're protected from the results of what you say. You yell bomb in a crowded theater, or you say, "Oh, I got a bomb" while you're in an airplane. Well, you're going to be in trouble. Those are not protected forms of speech. As we go on, we'll talk about what is protected speech, what isn't, what freedoms are absolute, and where have the lines been drawn. Okay. Let's not worry about that slide. I'm going to end here with the First Amendment, okay? And in future videos, we're going to break down these a little more specifically. But the First Amendment are the first five rights guaranteed to you. They were important. It is the First Amendment, so that's how important they were. Okay, so Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for redress of these grievances. Okay, these are individual rights, even if they're unpopular. We're going to call it a day there, but what we're going to do is in the future, in coming videos, we're going to break down freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and so forth, and get to a little more detail here.